Okay, so I am Vince Fattizzi. I'm with Coldwell Banker Premier Properties, real estate agent here for a long time in St. Augustine and St. Johns County. And I am with Joseph Smith of Ritter Mortgage, and we have a very special video presentation that we're going to be giving you today. Short and sweet, talking a little bit about what's happening with housing and pricing and all of that here in St. Johns County, and why it's important that if you are thinking about buying something, if you are thinking about selling something, this is still a very good market to do so. So, Joseph, introduce yourself, say hi, and we'll get going from there.
All right, everyone. I'm Joseph Smith, and I'm, as Vince said, with Ritter Mortgage here in St. Johns County. And looking forward to our time together as we got some important things to talk about with this crazy market ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. Joseph, a lot of folks are listening to the noise on the television and the noise that's in their internet, news blurbs and all of that. And you and I have been in the business for some time. And I think, there's a lot of confusion. Without question, there's just a lot of confusion. Um, I have had sellers and I've had buyers that have both said, I'm not doing anything at this point. I'm just going to wait and see what the market is going to, do. And I'm not going to buy because the prices are probably going to come down. And sellers are concerned about selling their home. And then I have to buy at these crazy high prices. So I'm going to wait for them to come down, not thinking that if the prices start coming down, guess what? The homes that they have to sell are going to come down, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about why would people kind of, I guess waiting is not such a great strategy. I guess that's what I want to say, right?
No, it's not. And what you're getting out there in the world is the information is not. You can't say it's not accurate. The market is cooling down. But
Yeah.
the thing that we do so well in our community is we spread fear that's not based on the reality of the facts. And the facts is that the housing market throughout the history of time, even through recessions, has
Yep.
continued to incline, not decrease. And so that's almost a guarantee across the board is that housing will increase. It may cool, it may not grow as fast, but it's really difficult to make a statement as in I don't want to buy now because prices are going to come down. Prices may dip a hair, but when you're talking investment, you're talking year from now, 2 years from now. The housing is probably the most secure investment of going up of anything you could put your money into.
Yes. Yep. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about how that affects, in particular, the rental market that you and I like to talk to. Um, they're trying to figure out, how do we do this? How do we buy something? Do we stay where we are and pay these incredibly insane rental values, right? 17, 18, 1900, 2000 per month for 1,000 square feet, 1,500 square feet, and
Exactly.
up higher, even higher up than 2000.
Yeah.
So that's, I know, one of the things that we want to cover, and waiting may not be the way to go. So kind of cover that. How does that affect their down payment and all of that?
Yeah, so there's two main issues that we're dealing with here. The first one is that as I just said, houses continue to increase. So maybe not at the rate we've seen over the past 2 years. I mean, you know that a house that was 300,000 a year and a half ago could be as high in St. Johns County as 450 this year, and that percentage growth is pretty radical. But even if you were to bring down to a modest growth, a 3 or 4%, you're still talking on a $300,000 house in a year, a 10 grand increase, or close to it, approximately 10 grand increase each year. So the first thing that you struggle with is that the longer you wait, the more you are going to pay for the house that you desire. That's a given. I know people like to gamble with the market of, I'm going to play the dip. You know what? More power to you if you can. But the reality is playing the dip hasn't often worked for people. Like you already said, your house becomes less valuable. Usually when there's a dip, lenders get a little tighter, and qualifications become a little tougher.
Yes,
There's
there
some
you go.
things that play in there rather than if you're able to, putting your investment into a house that is going to increase in value. And so that's the first thing, is that house prices are not, though they may dip for a season, are not going to stay down. They are going to continue to incline. And the longer you wait, the more you're going to end up paying for that house that you really do like. The second thing in that is that your money doesn't go as far. So a lot of people will say, you know what, I need to save for a couple of years before I can put a down payment on a house to get that going, not thinking that there are options and products, which we'll talk about in a different video, but saying I need 10 grand to put down on this house. Well, because of the first point, houses raise, 2 years from now, it's not going to be 10 grand you're putting down on the house. It's going to be 15 grand you're putting down on the house. It's going to be more, and your money is not going to go as far because you've waited. Not to mention as we're going to get into, the amount of money you're dumping into rent that isn't actually going into saving for a down payment on a house.
Right. They're constantly chasing the down payment amount,
Right.
basically. They
Yeah.
can't save enough fast enough to keep up with the changing prices as they do, even if it's a modest increase, right?
That's right.
We're not talking about, look, folks, the last couple of years, I've seen numbers that just astounding. Uh, I know Joseph has seen the same. We're pricing, 3, 4, 5 offers on a home, and it went for 50, 60, $80,000
Yeah.
over list price. I'm 20 years in the business. I know you've been around a long time. We have never seen anything like that, ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong at all. The interesting thing about the whole thing, I know you were around, and I was too, to own a house during the
Right.
2008 crash.
The great crash. Yep.
And I bought my house, and at that time it was a lot of money, and I bought my house, and the crash happened, and my house dipped $20,000-$30,000, and I went, as a young 23-year-old, what am I going to do about 20 or $30,000? And
Right.
but if you were to go touch that house even 5 years after that,
Yeah.
forget about 20 years now, but 5 years after that, that house had gained equity of $50,000. And today, if you were to go buy that same house, you're talking $200,000 of equity.
Mhm.
That's 20 years with $200,000 of equity, which we'll talk about in another video, the equity
Yes.
concept. But the reality is that though people may go, man, these housing prices are crazy,
Mhm.
I was thinking that back in 2008, and I wish I could get a house for the
Yeah.
price that I
Yeah.
had my house for back then.
And so that we wrap this up and not go too long,
Yeah.
I just want to mention that, well, St. Augustine around the globe, people know St. Augustine, Florida.
Yeah.
They love it here because of the beauty, the downtown historic district, the restaurants, obviously, all of the fun stuff that we have. But Joseph, the majority of the people that come to live in St. Augustine are not the tourists that come back and say, wow, this is such a great place. I visited it one time and I think it's great. I want to live here.
You're right.
The majority of the buyers are coming from all over, predominantly the USA, are relocation buyers who are working either with private, companies or the military. The two giant Navy bases attract incredible volumes of people here.
That's right.
And these are megaton Navy bases. These are not small. And then Jacksonville's booming. So what we have underlying all of our housing pricing and our housing market are the two biggies. Number one, employment, and number two, the public school system.
Right.
This public school system is second to none here. We are the number one school system in the entire state of Florida and have been. And so people come, they want to work in Jacksonville, be connected with Jacksonville for employment in some way, shape, or form, but they want their kids here. So with that, the likelihood of the prices, quote, softening and going down you and I both know, and I promise I'll be quiet in a second, but all these builders, right?
Yeah.
All of these builders building all these homes and spending millions of dollars.
Right.
They're not doing it because somebody will buy something.
Yeah.
They know they're buying, right? They know they're coming. Go ahead.
Well, the data points to it. I mean, you and I can't speak to the future. Only, no one knows what's coming next. But we can look at the past and say, for the past several decades and decades and decades, this has been a consistent entity. Even in the hardest of times, it's been a consistent growth, and it has built real wealth for people. It's been a strong investment, and that's why, as we said offline, the reason you go and find a good realtor is to make sure the investment that you're making is the right price, that you're not getting ripped off, that it's a good investment, that the house is of quality, and it's worth you buying. And the reason that you partner with a good home loan advisor, I'm an account executive with Ritter Mortgage, and I have a team of home loan advisors that are the best, in my opinion, of course. But as you work with a home loan advisor, they're going to do their due diligence to make sure that you can afford this investment. And if those two things come together well, then there is not a better investment that you can make than a home. And that's from data in the past. That's not just, you and I can't speak to the future, but that's from data, is that there's not a better investment.
Yeah.
So
we're going to wrap this for now. I hope you folks got some information here that you found helpful. Maybe we calm some nerves here today, talking about, so disregard all the noise you hear out there on the internet.
that's right.
We're going to pick up this in the next video. We have more to talk about with regard to, especially what is this equity that everyone talks about all the time, especially for the rental folks. People that have owned homes certainly know what equity is and all of that, but a lot of the rental prospects don't really understand the concept of, do I pay rent or do I pay a mortgage, and why is mortgage better? Right. So Joseph is going to cover that next time. We will have that video out probably in the next week or so. I'm Vince Fattizzi. I am with Coldwell Banker Premier Properties here in town. You can reach me at 904-635-1086, 904-635-1086. Joseph?
And I'm Joseph Smith with Ritter Mortgage, and you can reach me at 904-515-5742. That's 904-515-5742. And
if you have just a question, either about the money or about the property, call either one of us. We'd be happy to chat with you. We don't mind the calls. It's our job to counsel and get people going in the right direction. You just don't ever know where you might end up. We'll be happy to help you, whatever it is that you need. Okay.
Right.
So with that, we're going to sign off for now. We will see you on the next video, and see you soon.
Thank you all.